Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. During a deck check, you find that Amy's sideboard, as recorded on her deck list, only has 14 cards. Of course, the sideboard of the deck that she gave you during the deck check has 15 cards, with one of her one-ofs not recorded on the deck list. When you ask Amy about this, she says that she was scrambling to get her deck list completed in time for the start of the players' meeting, and so she must have forgotten to write that one down. What is the appropriate infraction, penalty, and fix? Alright, so of course anytime you see a mismatch between a player's deck and their deck list, you should be thinking of one of two infractions, deck problem or deck list problem. The difference between these infractions is actually based on the player's intentions of what they were going to play. That's why it's really important to ask Amy what she was intending to play here. Now, in this case, based on the information we have, we can see that Amy's deck list is filled out incorrectly, and because her deck list is wrong, that means it's a deck list problem. The IPG specifies that the penalty for this sort of deck list problem is a game loss. Additionally, it specifies that you should change Amy's deck list to reflect what she's actually playing, so she won't have to worry about getting this sort of penalty in future rounds in the tournament. Now, I've actually got some mixed emotions about having a game loss be the default penalty here. There's pluses and minuses to it, and a lot of people think that it's too harsh, and even more think that it's not harsh enough. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the philosophy behind why that penalty is what it is. First of all, having to give out a game loss as the penalty here really does suck for a judge. 9 times out of 10, it's obviously the case that the player made an honest mistake, and the other time, well, most of those are probably honest mistakes too. So it really is terrible to have to give out a game loss. However, on the flip side, it would be very easy for a player to just intentionally leave off some cards in their sideboard and use these as flex spots according to whatever the matchup they were playing was. It would be extremely difficult to detect this sort of cheating if the player was smart about how they were doing it. And so the penalty needs to be harsh enough to dissuade people from doing it, even accidentally. I also wanted to go over some of the mechanics of how a game loss penalty would work at Competitive REL, since a lot of my viewers have probably never seen one before, unless they are a judge. So, basically the name says it all. The player is considered to have just lost a game in the current match. The match score is updated appropriately, and if one player has 2 wins as a result of that game loss, well, the match is over. If that isn't the case, then the person who got the game loss is going to have the choice of whether to go first or second in the next game that they do play, because, of course, that's what happens when you lose a game in a match of Magic. There's one other rule related to this that I wanted to bring up because it's pretty important and not very obvious. And that's that if a player gets a game loss in a match before either person has seen any cards out of their opponent's deck, then there's no use of sideboard during the game that they actually do play for the first game in their match. I imagine this is probably a result of wanting to make sure that every match has at least one pre-sideboard and one post-sideboard game, but honestly, this has been how it is for at least as long as I've been judging, so I honestly don't know. If someone has a better idea of what the background behind this rule is, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. But that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again tomorrow for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.